Ursula Burns rose from the New York City housing project to become a mechanical engineer and eventually the first black CEO of a Fortune 500 company, Xerox. And just this week, she was tabbed to become chairwoman of the international consulting firm Teneo.
In her new book, Burns described how, along with a lot of hard work and dedication, she was able to take advantage of the social programs and opportunities of the civil and women's rights movements to become a captain of industry. It is called Where You Are Is Not Who You Are. And we say good morning to Ursula this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Dan and Lauren.
Ursula, I wanted to start off with the title of your book. It says, Where You Are Is Not Who You Are. Describe to me what that means to you.
Yeah, I had one of these miraculous mothers, and she had all of these odd sayings when I was growing up, when we were growing up, my brother, my sister, and I. And one of them was this, where you are is not who you are. And she would say, remember that when you're rich and famous. Foundation is we lived in a really bad neighborhood, in a really bad building during a very difficult time in America in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, gangs, drugs, just poverty all around. And my mother would always drum into us that this is the environment that you live in, but this is not who you are in your heart and your soul. And when you move out of this and get to a better place, please remember that the people who you see in the places that you left also are not what you see physically around them. They are also people with hearts and souls and need support and help. So it was a reminder of us to keep our heads on straight, to be careful around people and caring around people, and not get too confused by the surroundings about in our hearts.
When you were appointed CEO in 2009 of Xerox, at the time you were very critical of some of the press coverage around that appointment. So what do you think has changed in the past 12 years?
Well, one is that there are more. There are more of me, more women and African Americans. Actually, African Americans, not that much more, but during the time we've had some progress there. So there's a little bit more familiarity with a black woman being in leadership positions. That's helpful. We have a black female vice president today. So there's a little bit more comfort with this difference in places of power. When I came in, I was not overly critical of the fact that people noticed that I had gotten there. That was actually pretty cool. Mm-hmm. The reasons that they pointed out were the things that troubled me. It became more about the fact that I was so different than people who look like me. But I was very similar to people who didn't. I went to college. I did just about every job that was required in the company to do. I performed very, very well. I went into a company that was phenomenally prepared and supportive of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those are the points that I wanted to be at the heart of the story, not the fundamental, oh, look at her, she looks like I said, like I leap all tall buildings in a single bound. No, I did what most people who were very successful at the time had done. Today, we see a little bit more of that, but we still have a long way to go.
I was looking at some of the life lessons you're mentioning in your book. Let them see you sweat. Don't be too nice. And one of them is marry an older man. I was curious about that lesson point there.
Yeah, I get a lot of flack for that. I happened to marry an older man. It turned out to work out beautifully for me. First of all, he was a great guy. He passed away in 2019 very unexpectedly. He was a great guy, but the timing worked out amazingly, right? So here I am rocketing through my career. My husband was 20 years older than I was. And right during the times when I needed to put my head down and go deep into the business, travel a lot, he was at the end of his career and I was at the kind of the beginning and at the the atlas of my career, and it worked out really well. Obviously, you don't just find an older man to marry, but it turns out that when you can get that kind of alignment, it's good. The whole point here is that you need help along the way. You can't, particularly women of color for sure, but women in general, still the burdens of raising a family, of being the caregiver, both emotionally and physically to family members, to community members, et cetera, generally falls on the on the shoulders of a woman, and it's really good to have someone who can help you through that. That was the bigger point. Also, if you can find somebody that you love who's older than you, that works out as well.
Right, that's good advice. Ursula, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Again, the book is called Where You Are Is Not Who You Are. We appreciate your time. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.